Welcome back to ChemLabs, and in this Dark Souls challenge run, I'll be using a very hard to pronounce sword, the Zwiehander? Yep, the Zwiehander is loved by everyone and is one of the most used weapons in Dark Souls Remastered, and for good reason. It's found relatively early in the graveyard beside Firelink Shrine, it has low stat requirements, high damage, and the poise damage is off the charts. One of the most powerful PvP and PvE weapons in Dark Souls. But I'm not just gonna sit here and try to pull numbers out of my ass, because in this video, I'll answer the question, can you beat Dark Souls by only using the Zwiehander? Now, we only get 3 rules for this run, and those are no glitches or exploits, no red tier stone ring, and no leveling vitality. And you might be thinking, Chem, isn't this just a normal run with extra steps? And to that, I say yes. Yes, it is. See, I just completed my Cestus only run, and don't worry, that video will be out in a couple weeks, so make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified when it drops. But the bosses were a pain in my ass, so what better way to get my revenge than turning every one of them into my personal bitch. Also, making this video was pretty fun. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed as well. Let's get into the video. Considering I'll be smashing everybody I come across, I named my character Giggity and chose the bandit class for the high strength and endurance. The master key is a given as I never choose anything else. I mean, why would you? I went about my usual route as it is impossible to get the Zwiehander so early, and after a plunge and a couple smacks on the ass, the Asylum Demon was down. And from this point, I can only use the Zwiehander. So after dumping all my souls into strength, I went down to get my desired weapon, which is surprisingly close, below a headstone in the graveyard beside Firelink Shrine. But I still can't use it, so I have to go to the Valley of Drakes to get myself some pop souls, and it was enough to two-hand my overcompensator. We went to spawn the dragon, just in case I need to farm souls, then I ran all the way to Havel and ran my hard long sword right in his back. But what he lacks in length, he makes up for in girth, and I couldn't handle his sword. But with a pine resin and a dream, we take him down. And now, we can quick roll while having decent drip, alongside any other shield that we might need along the way. So I went to take on the Taurus demon, and I shoved my shiny right down his throat. And as kinky as that sounds, I instantly found out why everyone loves or fears the Zwiehander. And with that, the Taurus demon was down. Another boss bites the dust. After having a nice chat with Solaire, I opened the shortcut, which I surprisingly never needed on this run. Then I ran past the dead dragon and made sure to collect the pop soul and sped through the undead parish to get to my bonfire. I got myself a free Titanite shard, then cleared out the 50-man gang squad, and aha! I opened the shortcut. Bet you were expecting me to face the Gargoyles, weren't you? Because you would be right. The damage was overwhelming, but the star of the show was the fact that you stagger them with every R2 attack, and that was fucking awesome. And once the first one was down, the second one followed shortly, and now the first bell is ringing. I quickly ran back to Andre, where I smashed the disabled person. You can let your imagination run wild with that, because I'm definitely not gonna clarify. Then I went to collect the Grass Crest shield, but this Black Knight was just not having it. But instead of getting back my souls, I got the poise ring and went to face the Moonlight Butterfly. Now, if you're gonna try this run, do as I say, not as I do, because I should have grabbed the shield with decent magic defense, but because I'm lazy and confident in my ability to dodge, I didn't. But it wasn't a problem, because after cycle 1, cycle 2 makes the end of the Moonlight Butterfly. After collecting some goodies, I got back to the Undead Parish to face something I don't normally face, the Walking Soul Bank. And if you stand here, the fire doesn't touch you, by the way, but if he jumps back, you gotta run back to your hole and redo the whole sequence. Easy 10,000 souls. And after opening this shortcut, I got rid of the population of the lower undead burg with this fireball and went to take on Capra. I know things started off pretty bad here, but I threw the panic out the window and Capra's dogs went with it. And now he's alone, I can continuously smash him until he just can't take it anymore. This run is really fucking gay, isn't it? Then I hit Lotric off with my sword for anyone in the comments about to type, "You kill Lotric with your foot, that's not fair." After Lotric's canonical death, I collected what is now mine, and now it's time to get balls deep into the dark. Jesus Christ. And now it's time to get balls deep into Dark Souls, so I went to the depths, utilizing my sword to shut up anyone that had a problem, and collected a large ember. And for some reason, I missed the plunge, no idea why, and after falling down and fighting my way through the basilisk, one of them just insta-cursed me, like Dark Souls. Are you okay with me being so deep? If you're not, just say something. I successfully smashed a rat and got back to the bonfire safely. Then I remembered to take out the Chandler and got my ass to the Pussy Giant. Finally, something worthy to stick my sword into. Now, we might not be doing a lot of damage here, but remember my miracle only run? If you don't, here's a link up top. But long story short, this bitch is weak to lightning, and I made sure to grab some from the merchant on my way here. Punishing these stomp attacks are viable, and cutting off the tail is necessary if you're the kind of guy that likes to take it from behind. And yet another lass that can't handle the sheer length and power of my dick. Now it is time for the most nerve-wracking part of this run, collecting power within. And while there were some close calls, I did manage to get it and homeward bone out. First try. I freed Laurentus on my way out, and bro, how did you manage to get captured in a barrel that gets destroyed by a light gust of wind? I was going down to Blighttown, then I remembered I was gonna use Power Within, so I went to get the Pyro Flame. Ah, such a wonderful area. Reminds me that you have to go through a lot of shit before you find a good woman. And no, I'm not talking about you, Mildred. You throat guys for fun, but I'll smash you anyway. Twice if that's okay. I went to get the Chloranthy ring and made my mandatory shit walk and got to Quelaag. And how can people have arachnophobia when you have girls like this? In all seriousness, I could have taken her on sooner, as the only thing I have to be careful of in this fight is the lava. And now I think it's safe to say Quelaag cannot handle my sword. I made sure to ring the second bell and then I sent Ceaseless to hell. Actually, he was already there. He just fell. On my way out, I tried to collect the Firekeeper soul, but these dogs weren't having it. So I went back to Firelink, upgraded my Zwiehander to +6 and bought the weaponsmithing box. Then I proceeded to run past every single enemy and made it through Sense Fortress on my first try. It seems like this is the first, but I wasn't collecting any trinkets like the Slumbering Dragon Crest ring, so I didn't diverge from the path. After baiting out the Go Shit Crazy attack, I got rid of the giant for a Titanite chunk, buffed up my weapon, and started absolutely fucking up the Iron Golem. The damage wasn't the best, but I mean, this is a +6 weapon. Even so, every 2 attacks, he starts wobbling, and he falls after like 4 attacks. He had no chance, and with 2 hits and a wobble, the Iron Golem was down. Not even close. Normally in my challenge run videos, I don't take on the duels after Sense Fortress, but this time things are gonna be even more different. So after getting my weapon up to +10, I pretended like an egg to get a ride from the Dark Soul taxi and got dropped off back at the asylum, where I parried Oscar to death and collected my prize. Then I went to face the boss, and yeah, do as I say, not do as I do moment, because I didn't equip the shield. But because the Straight Demon has spam on attack syndrome, I was taking advantage from behind as usual, and with 2 more smacks on the ass, the Asylum Demon has passed, netting me some sweet Titanite slabs. Back in Firelink Shrine, I'm still not ready for the duo. Actually I am, but I want to make both of them my bitch, so I went down to New Londo and showed some girls that I have a bigger dick. I cheesed Ingward, and yes, I didn't kill him with a sword because I'm not going in that house. I drained the water, farmed some Dark Wraiths until I got enough Titanite shards, collected the very large ember, and fucked off. After that endeavor, I needed some souls, and a Rat of Kindling would be nice, so I took out a regular mob for boss levels amount of souls and endgame boss drops. After getting back up to Firelink Shrine, I sorted my inventory because I like switching weapons mid-fight, and doing this does make it a bit easier. Then I got the Crest of Artorias by buying it. I'm not a piece of shit, and while in Darkroot Garden, I talked to the cat and tried to be nice and polite by only killing the person that has an item that I need. But of course, these hooligans had to be heroes, so I showed every single one of them that I regularly commit mass murder. I was just being nice, and now it's time for Sif. And Sif would have been a good boy if he just gave us the ring after we saved him in the abyss, but he didn't, so I smacked him to death. The Dark Grain ring made it super easy, and now it's time for the 4 bitches. And never you call someone a bitch because they might kill you. Instead, call them your bitch, and they'll be soft enough for you to wail on them with your long, hard, majestic sword. Hell, they'll even invite your friends for some action, but in the end, none of them will stand in the face of your sheer will and power. With our first large soul in our grasp and a +15 Zwiehander, I think it's time for the duo. So after making it to Andorlando, I did the stair skip, and yeah, Arnstein was taking this much damage. It's obviously gonna be easy. If I remember to heal, that is. Second time's a charm, and okay, 3rd time's a charm, and with Arnstein dead, Smo has no idea how toast he is, because I know he has a habit of jumping in the air when I sprint towards him, which can be punished with 2 R2 attacks. And get this, he can't even butt slam because 2 R2 attacks staggers him. Yep, this is like stealing candy from a fat executioner. I collected the Lord Vessel, and I had no idea the big boo-boo lady was an illusory wall, so I shot her right between the melons, and that opened the room to the boss that I've never faced, a femboy that immediately saw my female character and was disappointed beyond words. I died, but after showing him that he was still about to get it, he was happy. But honestly, Dark Souls, what the fuck? And of course I fucking died. Thank God the bonfire is right in front of it, so getting back wasn't a problem. And Gwendolyn got what he always wanted, a long hard sword right up his ass. I collected some useless shit that I will never use and went to place the Lord Vessel. Now it's time for the rest of the Lords. I discovered a new bonfire in the Tomb of Giants that was pretty helpful and made it to patches without dying. And yeah, bro felt real adventurous with his wardrobes today. And now it's time for Nito. It's not even a fight, to be honest. I one-shot the Boner boys and he does as well. Not to mention the damage we were dishing out. So first try, easy. After that, I went to the Duke's Archive where I died once before making it to Seath the Shameless. The reason 8 is on the death counter is because of the mandatory Seath death. And yeah, I died twice. But on my second try, I realized that baiting out his long range attack, then running in close for 2 heavy R2 attacks deals as much damage as my lightning attacks from my miracle only run that you can watch right after this video. Seath collected the sword and wasn't happy with the taste, so he left. After getting back to Firelink Shrine, it's time to take on the shitty bosses, and after resting at the bonfire and doing some pest extermination, I wanted to actually kill the enemies in the area for a change, but they quickly took that chance to remind me that I am a glass cannon. So after I ran past every enemy as I always do, I buffed up and went to the Demon Fire Sage, and I did remember to bring the Dragon Crest shield this time. Given that this is pretty much just a more aggressive version of the Asylum Demon, he went down first try. Now it's time for the Centipede with arms, and I was one tick away from being defeated by a pool of lava. It did take a bit for the Centipede Demon to see where I was, but once he was here, the big damage combined with RNG Jesus on my side left both of us on one hit away from death, and he can't heal. But I can, so he goes down. I smashed the sisters, murdered the brothers, and now it's time to smash the mom, which I would normally be dreading, but if you've been wondering what that white thing is that's beside my death counter, well, it makes you respawn at the fog gate instead of running all the way back, which makes it way easier to pump out videos every week. So I took out the first thingy, then I died, then I took out the second thingy, then I died again, then I messed up with my positioning, and I died, of course. The punishments in this game are only death alone. But I made it on my second try, and that was all she wrote. Now that all the Lord Souls are collected, it's time for the final boss. And after placing the Lord Vessel, I made sure to equip my target shield and ran past every single enemy as I always do. Only collecting this item to get the Black Knight off the narrow path and made my first attempt against the literal final boss. Now, while you're watching this fight, keep in mind that every other boss up to this point could not be parried. So of course he died. And with that was the end of the Age of Fire. If you like content like this, make sure to like the video to let me know, and maybe you want to subscribe as I make new challenge run videos every Saturday and let's play videos on Monday and Wednesdays. If you didn't click the miracle only run, maybe that didn't seem like much of a challenge, here's my bow only run. It was quite a fun experience. See you next time. Don't you dare go hollow.